Can somebody let me know if you can hear me and see me? Let's see. Oh, Donna, hi, and Tish. And I've left my glasses at home, so I can't read the chat so well. Hey, Tariq, welcome, welcome. And I'm just gonna skip. So yeah, hi. Oh, hello, Hillary. So yeah, somebody let me know if you can hear me. It's always good to know. Hi. Oh, my phone's a bit wobbly. Hang on a second. I'm just going to turn it a bit more that way in the gimbal. Hi, Natalie. Hi, Robin. Hi, Christine. Welcome. And can somebody let me know if you can hear me? Okay. Hi, Carol. Yes, loud and clear. Fantastic. Thank you. So, welcome everybody to the second installment of Detailed Amsterdam. I'm starting where I left off. There's the bells on top of the Royal Palace. Hey, hi Pauline and Robin and Diane. So yeah, I thought I'd move out from Dam Square. So that's enough for looking at me. This is what we saw last time. I've changed the video setting as well to ultra high definition, so hopefully that looks good. And coming into view is the new church. And I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but look, the World Press Photo Exhibition is on. Every year it starts here before traveling around the world. It's obviously usually pretty damn harrowing because it's about world press. It does show that there is more to photography than Instagram. But what we're going to do today is explore just north of Dam Square. Starting with this lovely little alleyway that goes right behind the new church. And just to recap, the new church is from the 1400s, whereas the old church is from the 1300s. So April has been insane. Hello, Susan. And I did my last tulip tour today. The tulip gardens are still open for a couple of weeks, but I didn't take any bookings in May because often the gardens aren't looking that good in May. I'm very well, thank you, Tony, and hello, and thank you for joining. So who knows, I might end up. Actually, the gardens do look pretty good because it was such a cold early spring. But anyway, enough of that. So today feels like the beginning of a holiday where I actually don't work every day. I love this little square here. It is so central. Things are a bit closed now, but it's so central. As you can see, it's just north of Dam Square, but it's so pretty. It's got this really fun, quick, easy dress-up photo thing here, which is run by a friend of mine, Peter, where you dress up as a character in a Dutch painting. I often do this with friends and relatives when they visit. It's about 15 euros or something, and it doesn't take long. So here's somebody dressed as the Prince of Orange. They do group photos. Photos they will like mix and match. Now I had my two young adult nephews with me. One of them's an artist, so he dressed up as Rembrandt. The other one dressed up as the Merry Drinker. And of course I was Vermeer's milkmaid, because why not? And I was going to bring some pictures so you could see, but it's so sunny, I didn't think you'd be able to see very well on the tablet. And so I'm just without photos today. So, what else is on this lovely little square? We got tulips, of course, because it's tulip season. So little ones that are yet to really open nicely. And then these wonderful buildings here. So here is a building with a super gable. I could tease you and say what kind of gable is it, because that's how we did the quiz the last time, of identifying what style of gable it was. Because remember, there's a quiz. I'm still struggling with the zoom. You're going to have to be gentle with me with the zoom. Now we can see the gable. But I'm not going to make every visitor Clark gable. No, it's not, Tish. This gable, I know I talk about them a lot, so you're probably bored of hearing me say this. But this is good old Louis XV with the flowy feathers like that. Feathers. And look at this feather up at the top. It's absolutely wild because it's not 100% symmetrical. They literally broke the mold because Louis XIV was 100% symmetrical. So there's a really pretty little building, very modest, and it is called the Drie Flesjes. And there's a little hint as to what that means from underneath, because they're 3 little bottles. Well, they're not that little, but let's just call them little, because the Drie Flesjes means the 3 little bottles. Pretty much on the basis that Dutch people like to make everything diminutive. So if you're going to have a beer, you never order a beer, you order a biertje, a little beer. If you want a sandwich, you don't say you want a sandwich, a brood, you say a broodje, a little bready, because it's a little country and it sounds cute. Who's saying hello? I've left, oh, hello, welcome, Harriet. I've left my glasses behind, so I'm struggling to read the chat. No puddle shots. No, for puddle shots we need rain. But anyway, the thing about the Drie Flesjes is that this was actually a cafe/bar from about 1650. So it's one of the oldest ones in town. And in the 1800s, it was bought by somebody called Hendrik Bootz, B-O-O-T-Z, and he expanded into this building next door. So he bought some buildings here and he demolished them and he made a distillery. And you can actually see that here written. It says Liqueur Fabrique, which means liquor factory. The 3 bottles distillery. So there you go. And what they were distilling there is something called Jenever, spelled Jenever, which often people call Dutch gin. This can make Dutch people choke on their Jenever sometimes because it's kind of the other way around. Because Jenever came first, gin came second. But they made a lot of this stuff here. 7,000 liters a day they would distill. That's 1,850 gallons. And it was, next door was the proeflokaal, so the tasting room, where people would be able to taste this liquor. And it's changed hands a few times. What's really famous about this place now is that inside it has 50 barrels along the wall, and you can get on a waiting list to own a barrel, and then you can have a barrel filled with your own booze and go in there with your friends and unlock it, and then you can just take a jug and share out the drinks. Let's see, there's a message here. The strength did not start, had to refresh, missed a lot. Oh, that's okay because it's recorded. It'll be online later, so if you missed anything, it'll be visible. Now, this building here is very important, neo-Renaissance building, and it's from the 1880s. And what's interesting, I think, most interesting, is this entrance. It's what's called an edicule entrance, and that is because of the shape of it now. What is an edicule, I wonder? An edicule is the type of shrine that they used to have in a Roman house. And typically it'd have a little pediment above it like that. And there would be pillars on the sides. These are quite stylized. And entablature above. And then typically a statue in the middle. And that was used in Renaissance architecture for entrances, for windows, for all sorts of things. And yeah, it's just really nice to see in Amsterdam, because a lot of the Renaissance and classical architecture in Amsterdam is very pared down. Here's another version, you see. There's the pediment above, there's the pillars at the side, the columns or the pilasters, and a really, really beautiful design of this building. And there are lions, of course. Let me try the zoom again. There are these lions as keystones. Have a look here. So there are lions as keystones all the way up the building, and a lot of decoration. There's so much detail in Amsterdam, even though I've been walking around the city every day for whatever decade, I still see new stuff every day that I've never seen before. Right. Okay, now let me see if I can read some of these questions. Please. Oh, let's like the stream. Oh, thanks. Liking the stream is great, I think. I'm already a newbie to this, so I'm not sure what I'm meant to be asking. These, by the way, these metal hinges are actually the original ones from the 1880s. Very, very nice and ornate. What have we here? We have cannabis seeds, a coffee shop, of course, a coffee shop being a shop that sells cannabis and hashish. And I'll probably save that for a story for another time. This little street is called Gravenstraat. Nobody said Dutch sounded like a Romance language. It means the street of the Count. And look at this cute little detail here. These really funny little edges. It's like a house. House on the side of this. That's what I mean about Amsterdam having a lot of detail. So, sorry, there are people being very nice and not getting in the way of the camera, but that's fine because I'm pointing it upwards. I'm just struggling with the zoom, trying to zoom out. There we go. I was trying to work hard. Why am I doing these? I do these tours. I'm going to try and do one a week, and then a little bit of Amsterdam, always going further afield. I just want to do them because it's fun, and it's nice to keep in touch with all of you. I think it's nice to explore the city. It's also nice to make something of a resource, kind of, for tour guides and that sort of thing. Hello, Dawn. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining. And anyone who wants to know about Amsterdam. This is Café Belgique, one of my favorite little bars. There you go, Café Belgique, nice little Belgian beer bar. Right in the center, it's tiny, it's only got 2 tables. I'm not going to point the camera inside. Lovely lilies, look at these. Oh, thank you, Cynthia. Little compliments. Look, crazy little details here, books. And this bar actually has it owns these 3 areas here, which it gives and allows different street artists to make some artwork. And this varies a lot what's here. So this is definitely, to me, the most interesting one. And here is the artist here. I don't know very much about street art, but add Wise Kid Tattoo. And it's a police van here bursting into flames. So there you go. Okay. And what else have we got? This has kind of got it almost kind of a more modern Keith Haring kind of feel to it. And yeah, this is what I call terribly artistic. And this is, that's who that's by. That's not going to get my vote. Anyway, so here we are on the Nieuwendijk. I'll show you the street name since I know you don't have a map. The Nieuwendijk means the new dike. There we go. So Nieuwendijk, new dike. Now, this is the dike that went along the side of the river, and down there is the palace on Dam Square. And then I saw something that I got terribly excited about. Now, it's another thing about architecture. With Ionian columns, let me zoom in at the top. The Ionian columns are the ones with, I think they're called volutes, yeah? These round things on either end, yeah? Okay, I think we all kind of know those a bit. Well, the Renaissance ones, the piece in the middle joining the 2 round things is always straight. And the Greek revival ones are sagging down. And look, these ones are sagging down. There's almost no Greek influence really in Amsterdam. It's mostly Renaissance. And that just made me terribly excited. Because the Romans had them straight across. And then nobody could get to Greece, you see. So you got the Renaissance, from the 1500s. But Greece was closed. Greece was Ottoman. So people weren't going there. And it was only in the mid-1700s that the architects, Stuart and Revett, actually went to Greece and they spent some time there. And what they did is they drew a whole lot of the buildings from antiquity in Athens and further afield, and that's where they picked up that sort of downward curve between the curvy bits of the Ionian capitals, and it's just so cool to see. I love it. I'm so going to get to Greece and Rome for that matter. What happened is that I got COVID in October, and then I went down a rabbit hole of classical architecture videos on YouTube, and I haven't really come out yet. Anyway, so here we are. This shopping street is not a very interesting street, it must be said, at all. It's just like any other high street, but we do get to some more interesting things in just a moment. By the way, the Amsterdam cheese shop looks very touristy. It is, but it's really good cheese. It's actually Beemster cheese, Beemster kaas. And I love Beemster cheese, and the farm that I visit on my countryside tours is one of the about 500 farms that comprise the Beemster Cheese Collective. And it really is a collective, so it's owned by the people who make it up. And all of their milk goes to making, well, mostly Beemster cheese, a little bit goes to making Ben & Jerry's ice cream in the Netherlands. So even though it says Amsterdam's Cheese Company, it's Beemster. I said, why not Beemster? And they said, well, it doesn't have international recognition. Ruth, hi, welcome, thanks for joining. So yeah, this is actually a really good place to buy cheese. But the reason that I came up here is I wanted to show you this. Some of you may have seen it before with me, some not. So, this building here was rebuilt about a decade ago because it was really ugly. It was from the 1960s. It really was an eyesore. Terrible place. And it's been much improved like this. Oh, great. I can just, thank you so much. I can't, as I keep saying to people, I forgot my spectacles at home, so I can't read the chat very easily. But somebody was saying how nice the countryside tour is. I love doing that tour. But this passage here, it's been a passage, or there's been an alleyway in this area since 1416, and it was called Baafje's Alley, named after a girl called Baaf, yeah. What a terrible name. Shown on a map from 1625. And in 1905, it became known as Beurs Passage, that stock exchange passage, because of the exchange, the other end of it, which we're going to see in just a minute. And there was a big renovation, as I said, 2010, and this passage was created. And it's called Primordial Soup. And there's lots of references, I think, basically to canal water and bicycles in canals. But there is so much detail here, and it is such good quality. You know, normally things nowadays, when they're made, are made on the cheap. Not this one. And look at these unusual Amsterdammetjes here with bicycle bits there, a star, a bit of a nautical theme going on. And let's have a slow look through. I'm glad you like it, Chloe. So I just love these bugs. Like, don't let them bug you, and kind of fossily things. And this is like a cross between a bicycle wheel and a ship's wheel. So pretty cool. And then check out the walls. Lots of different tile detail. And these other nice lights. And then what really makes this is the ceiling. So it's mosaic, and trying to walk backwards and not run anyone over. These are mosaic tiles. It's by the same people, I believe, who did the Market Hall in Rotterdam, which is stunning also. So there you can see clearly a bicycle is being thrown in the canal. And look at the chandeliers are sort of gilded bicycle parts. I'm going to just unplug the mic a bit because the phone angle, that's better. So you can probably still hear me from the phone mic. What else do we have? We have an ear. Okay, I'm not sure how many ears end up in the canals. And obviously, there's a famous Dutchman who lost his ear. Yeah, so much more crowded than during COVID. There was a rather famous Dutchman who lost his ear. Well, didn't lose it, he cut the damn thing off. What a fool. Oh yes, a rat, of course. Rats, there are lots of rats in Amsterdam. Of course, Van Gogh cut off his ear, but he didn't cut off his right ear, he cut off his left ear, so they got the wrong ear. But anyway, another fabulous chandelier. Talking about fish, there are about 30 breeds of fish in the canals. And here is a Geneva glass. So the distillery I showed you is where they made Geneva, and then when you drink Geneva, you get it in a glass like this. And yeah, it is noisy. You get it in a glass like that, and what they do is they put it on a bar counter and they overfill it, and you have to bend over and take a sip, a slurp out of it. Otherwise, you can't pick it up, it would spill everywhere. Let me put the mic back in, hang on. Okay, see if that helps the sound. Okay, there we go. And talking about Geneva, of course, here's a Geneva bottle, the typical old sort of Dutch stone Geneva bottle. That's always what they look like. And, oh, I'm sure they wouldn't mind charging you for one for water, Cynthia. Okay. Talking about water. Great, okay, good to know. So here is the Amsterdam City crest with the three X's, can't say my words properly. And nobody really knows what those stand for, by the way. If people tell you they know, they're talking rubbish. And this is so much fun, talking about water, because this is a place where you can fill your water bottle. Okay. And it's a little bit of a story to it. So it's called Take Some Mokum, or rather, yeah, take some mokum with you. And it's a fish. Take some mokum with you. So what's all that about? It's a water bottle, and you're meant to be able to fill up your water bottle with what the artists called the elixir of tolerance. And mokum, it was the old Jewish nickname for Amsterdam, from mokum, in Hebrew and Yiddish, meaning a town. So mokum Aleph, town A, is how it was referred to. And let me show you how it works with you. Basically, you take your water bottle, and here's my water bottle here, yeah, and you put it in the fish's mouth, and then it turns blue, and it fills your water bottle up with the elixir of tolerance. Apparently, it's just water. I'm rather jealous because I understood that in Paris there's actually some water fountains with sparkling water, so it's quite marvelous. I'll talk about orange in just a sec, why it's the national color. Are you going this way? Let's say wants to go exactly where I'm standing. Okay. Let's get back to the ceiling. It seems that we have a spaceship over there on the bottom left. Goodness knows what else. Oh, there's a tiger. I haven't seen many tigers in the canals, to be fair. But hey, you never know. And here is the name in Dutch of this passage. Not the passage, but the artwork. Let me zoom in. So Amsterdam Oersoep, which means, where is it? There. Primordial. As I said, primordial soup. And oopsie, sorry, I bumped the phone. And then Amsterdam since 1275. Amsterdam's actually older than that, however, that's considered to be Amsterdam's birthday, because it's the first time that Amsterdam was mentioned officially in a document, and that said, if you come and live here around this dam on the Amstel, and here I am in the mirror, you can trade on the rivers of the Count of Holland without paying a toll. So that's why. Hi. People are laughing at me. Okay. And what have we got? Just a few more things. Another bicycle, of course. Let's spin this one a bit around. Whee. There we go. And a fish. And there we go. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Let's just switch this around in case some of you haven't met me. I'm Mark, hello. And I'm just gonna dash across the road. This is me, if you haven't met me, hi. And up there is Central Station. And this building is called the Beurs van Berlage. And we're going to talk about that next. I just need to find a place to cross. I do lose the chat, by the way. I don't know if there's a way of keeping the chat from fading when you're streaming. So I might not see any comments or questions immediately, because I keep on having to scroll upwards on the screen to bring the chat back. But thank you, Susan, for reminding everyone to give this a like if you like it and all that kind of stuff. And if you want to make a donation to my cause, there's the Buy Me a Coffee thing and my PayPal email in the description. So underneath here, maybe I'll just show you. Underneath this square is bicycle parking. And it was rebuilt for ages. So they're really trying to get bicycles off the streets in Amsterdam. I won't go inside because I'll probably lose reception. But there is there's quite a number of underground bicycle parkings now. So here's this one with many thousands. So you can't really see because of the reflection. If I lose reception, don't worry, I'll be back in just a sec and just show you through here. That's how it looks. And the first 24 hours are free, and then it doesn't cost very much. So that's where I always park now. Just because it's nice and safe as well. And now that I've gone the e-bike route, I don't want my bicycle being stolen. Not that there's a lot of bike theft. I think the last stats I heard is like only 2 a day were stolen in Amsterdam, which is not much at all. There used to be far more during the sort of heroin epidemic. But look at these amazing street lamps. Mark, good to see you in Amsterdam. Where are my eyeglasses? Yeah, I left in such a hurry, I forgot to bring my spectacles with me. It's difficult to read. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about next is this building here. Now this, where I am standing, where we are standing, used to actually be the Amstel River. And it was filled in to build this great big building here. In 1503, this was built. Now, I never really liked, let me see, I joined a little late. Which letter are we doing? This is not part of the A to Z of Amsterdam. This is a series I've started, Linda, called Detailed Amsterdam. So the idea is that every week I just do another little bit of the city, picking out interesting details to show you and talk about until we've done all of Amsterdam. And I'm still going to be doing the A to Z of Amsterdam series also. But there was this architect called Hendrik Berlage. He was a raging socialist, and he was commissioned by the Radical Liberal Party to design the stock exchange in the early 1900s. And The Radical Liberal Party was meant to show liberalism as in trade liberalism. But the radical part was a bit of socialism knocking off the hard edges of the capitalist system. Okay, and the idea of Berlage, because you can see this building is made out of bricks, yeah? Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of red bricks, like so much in Amsterdam. And what he said is that, you know, regarding these huge big red brick walls, is that as insignificant as an individual is, look how powerful we all are in a mass together. So that was the idea that he was trying to get across. And he worked with poets and artists, and they collaborated on every room. And there's a lot of symbolism in it. Obviously, he was quite happy with decoration, but it had to be set into the building and not detract from the whole. So you see here, the keystones up here are like recessed into the building. And very beautiful. So like here, very much the art of the period. It's all to do with trade. It's kind of, here is to do with fishing. You can see a fishing net here. This is the sort of fishing nets they have already still nowadays when they have vintage fishing days in Monnikendam. They have those nets on display. And I'm not entirely sure what this one is. Zoom out a little bit. There we go. Okay. Excuse me. Now, oops. Okay, with this great big, how do you call it? Frieze, I suppose. Here, what this shows here. So I'm going to do it slowly this way. On the left, on this side here, is a matriarchal society. So that's represented by the female figure on the left, and it's shown as nurturing matriarchal society. That's why the female figures are taking fruit towards the matriarch figure. Here on the right is patriarchal society, which is shown as exploitative. So these men are carrying a very heavy log or something to the patriarch. And here in the middle is a marriage of the two. So that is showing how those two extremes can be joined together to make a better union in the middle. And of course, Berlage didn't want this to be a stock exchange. It's not really his thing. He was much too socialist for stock exchanges. He saw it as being a palace to the people. And he was quite right, because it wasn't a stock exchange for very long. The stock exchange moved next door. And this is now used for all sorts of conferences. The tower here was inspired by towns in Italy. And this is meant to be a sort of piazza feel. There's the Amsterdam flag flying at the top. This building here is the current stock exchange. And it's been here operating since 1914. And the only two details I want to show you are the bull. It's a lot smaller than the bull on Wall Street, or New York. I'm not sure where it is actually. But we have a bull. And people rub the horns of this bull for luck, as opposed to what they do in New York. The butt of the bull. And I like these elephants. I want to show you the elephants here. Let's see if I can zoom in. I'm trying to stream on a different, like an ultra high definition this week. So I'm hoping that the quality of the zoom is better. Look, I'm getting better at zooming. So check out the lovely, beautiful elephants. Okay, I've just got a couple more things to show you. The side entrance and then a really rather wonderful building halfway up the Damrak. Damrak, there's the passage we're going through, you see? Damrak meaning the reach into Dam Square. Hey, somebody asked me about the orange colour being the national colour. That is because of the Prince of Orange. Now, in the mid-1500s, we had the first Prince of Orange in this area. He was William. William the Silent, history knows him as. And yeah, so that's where he came from. He inherited that title from an uncle from the Principality of Orange in France. So yeah, and our monarch is still the Prince of Orange. And so that's why it's the national colour. Has been forever. And yeah, I like it as a colour actually. Definitely do. Okay, so here's the side of this building. And of course where I'm walking now was the river, and used to be on the left, instead of cars, there would have been a line of ships lined up that way. And you see in the old paintings along the quay side. And here's the main entrance, of course, to the Beurs van Berlage. And references to trade. Also these keystones here recessed into the building. So this is one with the boat on it. And this one here has a cart. So these are both about transporting goods of trade. And then up here, again, is another one of these frieze type things. And this is meant to show, let me straighten that up a bit, international trade. So there's boats and goods, there's pack animals, and this promotes the mixing of people. There's Chinese and Arabs and Westerners, and it's hoping that this will lead to a united and just world. Well, there was a lot of hope in the early 1900s. It was somewhat dashed by that century. Hey, look at the seagulls. And more tulips from Amsterdam, of course. So here we have the fringed ones, which are pretty weird and cool, and they're slightly aggressive looking, and then just a whole bunch of more normal ones. But it's lovely having the flower pots of tulips all over Amsterdam. Okie dokie, so one more building to go, which is the one on the left over here, with the green turret. And that is the old Lloyd's building. Does anyone have any questions, though? And I realize I haven't done a quiz question. I haven't thought of one. Dear. Okay. So, here's the quiz question to see who is going to win a slicey. Just to see who was listening. At the beginning of the tour, the gable of the Three Flesjes, the little bar, the tasting room bar, is of a specific period, which I mentioned. What period was that? Does anybody want to? First person who gets it wins a slicey. No, it wasn't Louis XIV. Nope. It wasn't Charles V. Nope. It was, I'll give you a clue, it was the gable with all the lovely flowy feathers. It is indeed Adrian, Louis XV. So Adrian was first on the keyboard there. And Adrian, I can't remember if I've given you a slicey or not, have I? I don't think so. Anyway, Adrian, if you can reach out to me in any different media, I will send one over to you. And of course, beautiful views here over the old river and the reflections. But what I did want to finish with is this beautiful building here. Now, this used to be the Lloyd's Insurance Building. And of course, this is about detail. And the statues on the building were sculpted by Joseph Mendes da Costa. And he lived from 1863 to 1939. And he was from an aristocratic Sephardic family. Okay, now I've got to cross the road. Okay. And these wonderful statues, he was very influenced by Egyptian art. And Hillary, hopefully next time. Okay, so what's going on here? This piece here is called a prayer in bronze. And there's a praying figure, and then eternity is shown by the circular form. And check out these beautiful figures here. Sorry. Okay, these two figures either side. And sorry, the quiz is done. It was Louis XV and Adrian won. So this one on the left here, it's on my left anyway, I don't know how it is for you. This one here shows love for children. So let's zoom in on her. Okay. And in this, it's mother and child, obviously, but it seems like the child is even more central than the mother. And what Da Costa said about that is he said that we Israelites carry the child in our hearts. Is his explanation of that. And here, just staying zoomed in on the next one, we have thriftiness. So here is a housewife who is sort of planning for the coming days in a thrifty manner. Just zoom us back out a little bit. So there are those together. And coming along here, this is an unusual one, a very unusual one. Let me just zoom in and show you a little bit of what it is. You can see what you think. I don't think you would get what it's about because it's so unusual. But there's a male figure holding a book. And down below, he has his hand on the head of another figure, an unusual figure, which seems, yeah, okay, so, and then I just zoomed in just a little too much now. Okay, well, I'm getting the hang of this zoom. Okay, this is about self-deception, because basically here's a scholar, but he studies alone in isolation. And that's no good, you know, because you need society to keep you in check. So somebody who studied alone in isolation is represented by this small, misshapen man. So not a fully formed man, having obviously rejected the guidance of his peer group. Next, we have quite an unusual one, which I rather like. And this shows transience. So zooming in. Beautiful, isn't it? These are so gorgeous. Oh, sorry, I'm flinging you around. Let me try and Okay, transients. And there's a female figure, and she's holding an hourglass that has a chameleon on top of it. And that is showing transients. Okay. And then just around the corner here, you have domestic fidelity. And this is represented by Lee and Pixie, by the dog. A lady holding a dog. You know, that dog does look like my dear colleague Lee's Pixie dog. Oopsie. Now, what's amazing is that this is one of the busiest tourist thoroughfares in Amsterdam. And it has all these beautiful details on it that so many, I don't know, tens of thousands of people walk past every single day, but they probably never ever notice them. But anyway, we all come for different things. To be fair, when I was a youngster living here in my early 20s, I didn't take the slightest bit of notice of anything historic. All I was interested in was the next party. That was the 90s for you. Okay, and how's this for a nice closing shot? And I think what we'll do is say hi. Let's turn this around. So, thank you everybody for joining. And I will be putting this on YouTube shortly. It always takes about, 15 minutes, half an hour. And slowly building up a little collection of them. So thank you so much for joining. If you want to join my and Lee's Facebook group where we talk about all things online tour related, there's a link to that as well in the description, as well as some donation buttons if you want to chip in to fund my life. And thank you for joining, and have a good evening or a day wherever you are. Bye.